Okay, we're back. We're talking about reading level and how reading level is determined. What do we mean by reading level? Because I'm going to be asking you to find books that are certain reading levels to use for your independent reading during our class. So, as I said, reading level, whatever level we read at. Say I read at fourth grade level, right? Or a fifth grade level. What does that mean? Well, in fourth grade, I'm 9 years old. In fifth grade, I'm 10 years old. I don't mean that I read like a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old. What I mean is that I read text that is designed a certain way. So here's what it means. If I take a passage of 100 words and I figure out how many sentences are in that passage and how many syllables there are in that passage, then I can just use a chart that tells me what reading level that passage is written at. We can use a chart that we can easily find on the internet called Fry's Readability Chart. See, it says Fry's Readability Chart, and it looks like this. And you can use the one on the handout for our lesson today, or you can also find this anywhere on the internet if you just Google Fry's Readability. You can find a number of sites that have this chart. So what we want to do is we want to take a passage. The directions are there on that handout. You choose a passage of text that's exactly 100 words long. And then we count how many sentences are in that passage. If the passage ends in the middle of a sentence, we're going to figure out what percentage of that sentence is included in those 100 words. And then we're going to count the number of syllables in that passage. And then we're going to just use that information, chart it on this chart here, and that will tell us what reading level we're reading at. Or not what level we're reading at, what level the passage is written at. At what level is the passage written? What reading level? Okay, so on the second handout we have here, I've got some passages for us to practice with. So the first passage is from Pride and Prejudice, which is a novel by a writer named Jane Austen, and this is from chapter 1. Now, you'll see on the handout that I have a passage here, and part of the passage is in bold print. The words that are in bold, the part of the passage that are in bold, is 100 words. So we've got a passage. The words that are in bold are 100 words. So what we want to do first is we want to look at how many sentences there are in that passage, the part of the passage that's in bold. So look at the passage and count with me. We have one sentence, two sentences, three sentences, four sentences. So we have four sentences, and then we have a part of a sentence, 2 words out of the next sentence. That sentence has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 words in it. So our part of a sentence is 2 out of 19. 2 out of 19. So we can figure out what percentage of that sentence is there. Divide 2 by 19, and we see that that's about 10%. So we have 4.1, 4.10 sentences in that passage. That's the easy part. So down at the bottom we can write 4.10 sentences. All right? Now, the hard part is to count the syllables, the number of syllables. So remember what a syllable is. It's the number of chunks in a word. So if I say truth, truth, that's 1 syllable. If I say compact, compact, that's 2 syllables. If I say acknowledged, acknowledged, 3 syllables, right? Possession, 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 3 syllables. All right, so we want to count how many syllables there are in those 100 words. Well, we can just count all the syllables if we want. Or, since it's 100 words, we know there will be at least 100 syllables. And then we can just count the extra syllables in each word. So, if I'm doing this, I start here and I say it, that's 1 syllable. Is 1, a is 1. Truth, that's 1. Universally, universally, 5 syllables. So since there are 5, I'm going to put a little 4 over it. I'm going to put 4 little marks over it because it's got 5 syllables, but I'm just going to count the 4 extra syllables there because I know there are at least 100 syllables because there are 100 words. So I'm just going to count the extra syllables. All right? Universally. I put that in the wrong place. Universally. 5. So I'm going to put 4 little marks over universally. The next word, acknowledged. 3 syllables. So I'm going to put 2 little marks over it. Subtract 1. That is 1 syllable. A is 1 syllable. Single is 2 syllables. So I'm just going to put 1 little mark over it. Goes 2 minus 1. Man, in. Man is 1. In is 1. Possession, 3 syllables. So I'm going to put 2 little marks over it. Okay. 2, a, good. Those are all 1 syllable. 2, a, good. Fortune has 2 syllables. Must, 1 syllable. Be, 1 syllable. In, 1 syllable. Want, of, a, wife. All of those are 1 syllables. Okay, now if I go through this whole passage and I do that, what I'm going to find out is that I have 36 extra syllables. So I have 100 plus 36. So altogether, I have 136 syllables. 100, 1 for each word, plus 36 extra ones is 136. Now, if I'm going to do this carefully, if I really want to know well what the level of this book is, then I'm going to do that for 3 different places in the book. All right? Okay, but once I do it for 3 different places and I average those numbers, then I want to plot this information, 4.1 syllables, sentences, 136 syllables. I want to plot it on this chart. So over here, I'm going to find 4.1 sentences, which will be right about there. And down here, I want to find 136 syllables. Which is right there. And then I want to see where they meet on the chart. So I'm going to go up here. And they meet right there. That and that. And see where that dot is? It's in this section right here. In this section. And we see that says level 9. So that tells us that this passage is written at level 9, 9th grade level. Okay? Now, it makes sense when we do this because if I have 100 words, the fewer sentences that are in there, the longer each sentence must be. Longer sentences are harder to read. The more syllables that are in there, That means the longer each word is, right? And longer words are harder to read than shorter words. So the fewer in a passage of 100 words, the fewer sentences and the more syllables, the higher the reading level. The more sentences and the fewer syllables, the lower the reading level. That's all reading level is. That's what reading level is. Nothing to do with age, nothing to do with intelligence, just the number of sentences and the number of syllables in 100 words. Okay? All right, so there are some other passages on the handout you can try that with. I want to assure you that in order to find books that are at certain levels for our class, we're not going to have to go through this for every book. I've got a website that we can use that already has book levels for thousands, tens of thousands of different books that we're going to use. But this gives us a basis in what we mean by reading level. Okay? All right, that's it for today. Thanks.